Peaceful greetings, all. Grand risings, right? So, I'm about to go over some common bookkeeping and accounting terms, right? See what's going on here. Just to let y'all know, I gave a 3-hour lecture on trustee questions for beneficiaries. And TikTok, I don't know what I may have said, if I've said anything wrong or whatever, but they refuse to allow replay and download of that video. And so I'm going to attempt at some point, not right now, but maybe today, to go back over that and to mind my words, right? All right. Excuse me. Ah, man, I'll get to this later. So, as I've been explaining and asserting to the people, right, all of this secure party creditor, redemption manual, status correction, all of this, right, it deals with accounting, everyone's bookkeeping. And I think that's better. Yeah, it's a little better, right? I keep letting everybody know, hey, you know what? I found that using the basics of accounting, right, that I've been able to decipher a lot of things. And so I feel it necessary, at least if for myself, but for you as well, right, to go over some of these terms that deal with accounting and bookkeeping that we may know, but may not have a strong comprehension, right, as far as definition. So when we're dealing with trust, yeah. Where is my marker? Is that? No, this is not the marker I'm looking for, but it will suffice. So me personally, I'm just going to pick out words that stand out to me. The first one here we have is abandonment. Right? What is abandonment? Do we know what abandonment is in relation to accounting? Abandonment is the retirement of a fixed asset from service. Let's think on that, right? We hear about abandonment. I hear people say, oh yeah, you know, the estate's been abandoned. The trust has been abandoned. They're claiming that you've abandoned your estate. All right. So abandonment refers to the retirement of a fixed asset. A fixed asset from service. Okay. So now, the most logical question in my mind is, what is an asset? Assets are resources this says a lot, that have monetary value. All right. So an asset is a resource with monetary value. That's what an asset is. Now that we know what an asset is, I think that it would be most helpful, right, if we could begin to identify, there goes that mark, an asset. We're just going to identify some immediate assets, right? Because we find that an asset is a resource that has monetary value. All right. All right, so these are some resources, right, that have monetary value. We have the birth certificate, the certificate of birth. This is an unsecured security. It is a financial transmitting utility. It is on bond paper. It is an estate. It is certified. It has some value, right? We have the Social Security insurance policy, right? This is the debit account. This is a resource of monetary value. We have a $20 note. This is a resource of monetary value. We have a utility, right, with a remittance coupon on the bottom, right? This is a resource. The utility is a resource of monetary value, right? We have a debit card. We have a food stamp, I guess, debit or credit card, right? And we have this passport here. This passport is the credit to these debits, right? So these are just some resources that have monetary value. The exchange of these resources uh, can be for benefit. Right? I don't know if this will hold. Right? We've got silver. It's a resource of monetary value, right? Negative passport. All right, so you're gone. Thrill Billy, you can go ahead and leave. You can't teach my class. I'm teaching my class. Fuck out of here. All right. All right, so again, we have gold, silver bullion, right? Silver coin, an ounce of silver. These are all these are resources with monetary value, right? If I block an individual from this live feed, they will not be ever back on this live feed. Just take that into consideration, though. People want to come in and try to start correcting you or correcting myself. Where's their information out on their posts? You know, if you know all about this stuff and you want to tell somebody what isn't right and whatnot, then at least have qualifying information to show and prove that you know what you're talking about. Again, a lot of these people, they done lost their minds and they think they become overnight scholars and they want to tell people what is and what ain't based on what they think they know and not on what they truly know. We ain't worried about that. Let me check and make sure my stuff's going up and not down. I do believe it's going up. All right. Appreciate it, beauty. All right. Let's see. We hear about, I can take all of these down. We went through abandonment. We went through assets. All right, so now we're going to look at some other definitions. All right, we have, here's another one that we hear a lot. Acceptance. What does acceptance mean in accounting and bookkeeping? Mind you, when we hear about acceptance, right, what is it? Uh, Conditional acceptance, things of that nature. These are accounting terms. So if these are things that are being used in court, you must understand that these are recordings of an account. We're doing accounting in court. Agree to take responsibility. All right, let's see. An agreement signed by drawee to honor a draft. So now I'm going to show y'all how I study, right? So I need to now know what an agreement is, and I already know. I'm just saying this for you all, right? When I get a definition like assets, I need to know what a resource is. I need to know what monetary is, what value is, and then all of that together. So when this, I know that an agreement is a contract. It's a bond. I know that an agreement is a bond. I know that an agreement is a bond. You follow me? Signed, meaning authorized by the drawee. By the drawee. That means that I've given you an offer, right? I drafted it. I drew it up. And now I'm offering it to you. And then you sign it saying that you agree to the terms and conditions. You taking it and agreeing, that makes you the drawee. That makes me the drawer. I'm the one who's withdrawn. I've charged and I've taken and given it to you to see if you're willing to discharge the obligation, right? Honor. Honor means balance. Honor is another word for equity. Just always keep that in mind. Honor and equity, they're like this. They're tied at the hip. And then a draft. What is a draft? A draft is something you write. You have your rough draft, your final draft. You have your drafting board, your drafting tools. People who draft things are called drafters. Now, what else can a draft become? Do you know? A draft can also become a bill. Is it a draft or is it a bill? Is it what kind of, we're talking about presentments, all right? So another word y'all should get up with, presentment. When they say present, are you present? By these words do we present, right? All of these words have definite meaning and implication. And if you understand, if you learn your words and what they mean, then you become the wizard or the whatever. You become the one who creates by what they speak, because you'll know what you're saying and what you are bringing in. All right. Appreciate the follow, yo. All right. Yes, this is an important word that we all need to know. Account. Everyone needs to know, what does the word account mean? What is it? Excuse me. An account. My apologies, because the word "the" ain't even there. All right. So an account, anytime you hear of an account, a debit account, a credit account, an estate account, a beneficiary account, a fiduciary account, anytime you hear an account, it is a transaction. We're talking about an exchange here. Accounts are transactions that are determined to be the same and grouped under one title in the ledger. This is a ledger. It's called a T ledger, by the way. It's also the cross, by the way. We have debit accounts and we have credit accounts, right? Under one title. This is one title, one ledger, right? So we've got assets. These assets have to get over here to the other side. They have to be accounted for, right? We've got expenses. We've got liability. We've got equity. We've got revenue. And just to show you all, since we already had that, we've got draw. Whoever draws, that's the drafter. That's the one who takes something to give it somewhere else, right? This is a draw, could be a dividend, right? Just know that the main three or five are assets, expenses, liability, equity, and revenue. But there is always a draw to the account. All right. So we got to keep that in mind too, right? So again, we have debit transactions on the assets. We have debit transactions on the draw. We have debit transactions on expenses. We have we have credit transactions in liability and in equity and in revenue. And all of these transactions make up one record or bookkeeping of an account, right? Now, I might go off and make a whole nother ledger on this side, just pertaining to the assets, right? Social security card, birth certificate, right? I can make an account that shows the value. This would be like the operating statement. This is a basic account ledger. As you can see, as we can see on the board, this is the same fundamental script that we're using, right? And if you see here, it tells you that everything on the left side, right, is what we have. And everything on the right side is who owns it. All right. So everything on the left side, is a what? It's a possession. What we have, possession, right? And everything on the right is a who. This is the what. This is the who. Who owns the what? All right. A debtor account is on this side. A debtor account is a debit account. And then a creditor account is a credit transaction of account part. All right. So on the credit side of any ledger, you are going to find the living people who possess the personalities that are on the board. Okay. So remember, this is the living person. This is the paper or legal. This is the people person. This is the person of the people. This is the people for the person. There you go. These are persons and these are people as persons. So this, again, everything on the right side of God, of justice, of the ledger, of the account, everything on the right side of the account is where you will find the living man, the living woman. The living man or the living woman can be the principal, the surety, right? It could be the title on. This is legal. There you go. This is legal ownership. This is equitable ownership. We even have the word equity over here. All the equity is on this side. Yes. So now, and I just realized I should not have erased that, but whatever. Account balance. I know a lot of my brothers and sisters out there, they like to talk about balance and ma'at and the Libra scales. Absolutely. This is what we're talking about. Again, if you wish to see the Libra scale or the scale of justice, here it is. That's the scale, right? Just showing you. This is your scale of balance. Right? Anywho, what I just showed you, right? This is actually called an account balance sheet. This was what I just showed you is what's called the balance sheet. This is a term that is necessary. I would again recommend highly for you all to learn what it is. So what is a balance, account balance? And I just explained that. An account balance is the difference between the total debit postings and total credit postings in an account. All right. Why is this? How does this ring? How can we remember this? Right. Every debit has an equal credit. If you have 10 debits on the left-hand side, then we have to find out how those 10 credits or who those 10 credits belong to on the credit side, on the right-hand side. All right. So a debit and a credit are just showing you the negative and the positive entries of an account. Debits and credits just are there. They're just tools. They're not good or bad. They're placeholders that shows you the negative or the outcome, and then the positive, which is the income, right, of an account, of an exchange, of a sacred energy exchange. Right? Let's talk about sex, baby. Sacred energy exchange, right? We've got other accounting principles. Look at that. Look at that. One of my favorite words was just mentioned here. Got all these markers and I just be using them, man. This is one of my favorite words, principles. Oh, damn, y'all might not. Okay, y'all can see it. Just checking to make sure that. All right. It says the body. Look at that. The body of doctrine. That's the word that caught my eye. Doctrine. I'm all about doctrine. Follow the law. You know? Oh, yeah, this is the marker. Right? The body of doctrine associated with the practice of accounting, serving as an explanation of current methods and as a guide in the selection of conventions and procedures. The principles are what you stand on, and you don't never shake, you don't never move. When they say standing on your square is your motherfucking principle. They're your principles, and you don't never stay. You stand on them principles. What? 10 toes down, firm, right? Like your feet made of brick. I can't move. I stand. This is my business. I stand on my principles, and they're unshakable. Just something to consider, right? And just to show you, all right, I searched this online, got it, found it, said, hey, read it. So yeah, I can print this out. I can use this for my own development. And I'm sharing it with you all. You know what I mean? Just to show you all that you can find the information if you're looking for information. If you know what you're looking for, you'll be able to find it. I was looking for accounting definitions, and I found some. You know? All right, let's see here. Accounting system, right? See, accounts. Look. All right, yep. We're going over stuff that I know specifically, right? You have accounts payable and receivable. Okay, accounts payable and accounts receivable. So again, this is the debit side. This is the credit side. So let's see what's this about, right? Accounts payable. What is an accounts payable? Accounts payable. Wait a minute. Yeah. Account payable. The total that a business owes to its creditors. Okay? And then accounts receivable is a claim. But mind you, it is a claim. Another way for a claim is amount due. From a debtor. Okay, so let me check just to make sure I ain't bugging. Accounts payable and accounts receivable. Yeah. I knew I was tripping, yo. So, but let me hold on. Chapter 3. Let me check. Let me be 100. Yeah. I was definitely wrong. All right. So, not wrong, but fuck it. I don't want to erase it. Fuck it. All right. So obligation, absolutely, absolutely. You check just to make sure we're going up. We are going up. All right. So again, when we're looking at our account ledger, right? And we've got debits and we've got credits. And we know that debits equal credits, but we also know now that assets equals liability plus equity. Okay? So if we were using an account, making a record of account, right? On this side, we would have account payable. This is the accounts payable side. This is the accounts receivable. All right. We see that the receivable side is the debit side because it says that it is a claim or amount due from a debtor. It's whatever the debtor owes. And who does it owe? It owes the creditor. And mind you, it says that accounts payable is the total that a business owes a creditor. So it's business. This is why we are businessmen and women. We have persons. The people as businessmen and business women are businesses. You have a business and your good name is your business name. Okay? All right, so let's say that my assets were lemons, cups, sugar, and water. Right? These are my assets, inventory, right? And let's say that I have $5 initially, right? So I would have $5. That's my initial interest investment, right? But let's say that it costs $15 in total to get everything popping, right? So I would take out a loan, let's say from my mom or dad, of $10, right? So that $10 is what's called a notes payable. I owe mom and dad. So whenever, right? So my $5 and my parents' $10, the $15 collectively, right? Let's say that it bought me all of the lemons and the sugar, right? And we'll say that the cups and the water are free because, that's in-house stuff, right? All right. So let's say that made me, after all of that, right? We'll say that the total of all of this, right, made me, we'll just say $60, right? After everything went out, right? So of this $60, right, I have to pay out my expenses, right? Well, what is the expense? Well, there is ownership, right, in the assets from someone else. I utilize someone else's asset along with my own. So I have to make sure that they get theirs, right? So the accounts receivable is that out of this $60, right, I only have $50 because I now have to pay my expenses to compensate for that note. Once I pay that 10 off, right, everything else that came about that, right, that would be my revenue, right? So we would say that out of the $60 I made, I gave mom and dad $10. I now have $50. That's my revenue. That's my revenue. That's my bottom line. That's my net. This would be what's called gross profit. This is everything that I made in total before I paid the workers. right? This is what you have after you paid your workers, right? Because the liable party is the worker. They're worthy of their hire, right? And so again, once you pay them off, everything left is called net profit. It's what's left. It's what you keep. It's what you caught and you captured in your net, right? That would be $50. All right. After I paid my expenses, that would be $50, right? Really trying to show y'all that accounting is not hard, right? It's really not hard. It just takes a little bit of time and consideration. And once you give time and consideration, right, it'll begin to make sense. I started studying accounting with this book, right? And then most welcome. And this got a little drive for me, right? Now that doesn't mean that this is bad information. It just means that my mind wasn't trying to wrap itself around it, right? So I invested in the inner child in me, right? And I just went and got an accounting book for children. So these books teach the same thing. But now that I'm able to understand it as a child, I can now go back into this book, eat this shit up. All right? You explained it without the complexity. Most welcome. And again, that's why I got the children's version, because I'm like, they're not going to use all these big words and shit to explain this to children. So let me get a book that gets rid of all the fluff, that just gets right to the point. And then once I get the foundation, now I can add my fluff. Right? All right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, like easy. Ugh. All right, let's look for some more here. Oh, I'm tripping. All right, and again, in my own personal time, I'm going to go over every last one of these. So right now, I'm just trying to go over some things with y'all. Right? Here's a good word right here. Right? Because people get caught up on this shit. People be like, oh, you're an agent. Oh, you're an agent. Yeah, I'm a federal agent. I'm a national agent. You fucking right, I'm his. Let me show you my agent card, right? Let me show you my agent card, right? I am an agent of the national government. So I'm an agent of the national agency. What is an agency? An agency is the relation between principal, that's the state or the nation, and agent, that's the state official. Well, what is an agent? An agent is one who represents or represents, acts for, and accounts to another. So an agent is one who represents another, acts for another, and accounts to another. So that means that this makes me someone who can represent, act, and account. I'm an attorney. This means I have the power of attorney to act on behalf of the state in the best interest of the benefit of all parties involved. Oh, you're an agent. Yes, David Sell, Brandon David Sell. No different than Bond, James Bond. Right? You cannot act in business as a human. Humans run businesses. You have to be the human acting the force behind the business. So I have to be an agent. I have to perform. I'm acting. You are acting. Statutes, codes, even laws, they're acts of government. You're acting. Act 1, Article 1, Statute 1. They all literally mean the same thing. So if you're not an agent, if you don't have the right role as an agent, then when you're in the play, you might not have the right script. You might not even have shit to say. Remember, the defendant is a non-party, it's a non-player character. The defendant is a non-player character, NPC. Now, if you want to play the NPC, remember the NPC can't say anything. It has no say-so, right? It has no say-so over what's going on. You playing a video game, right? You play Mario, right? You run around, you playing Mario, and there's just these things out in the, that you can't touch. You can't interact with, and it cannot interact with you. That's the defendant. That's the debtor. The debtor side of the ledger is a person that has no say-so. It just does what it can only do what it's meant to do, and it's just to hold something. Your debtor is like your camel or your mule. You just put your shit on its back and let it carry for you. It's a holding. It's a holder. It's a placeholder. All right. So I'm acting as what? A fiduciary agent on behalf of the principal. Remember, an agency is the relation between principal. The principal is the liable party. It's the one who has some type of investment in the transaction. It's the principal. It's the first one owed, because it's the first one who stands out in front, right? In this case, on the other side, right, if you're in court, the other party, the attorney, the district attorney is agent for the principal. The principal is the state. So the attorney comes in ready to accept our liability because they know that as the agent, they're only acting on behalf of the principal. The principal is going to absorb the charge, right? But the agent is authorized, has the authority to act in behalf, right? So the principal is the surety. Well, I'm not the surety, right? The bank would be, well, no, they're not, but the bank would be like a surety, and me as the clerk, right? I'm just the agent of the bank. If the bank gets robbed, you didn't rob me. I'm here on behalf of the principal. You ain't robbed me. So I'm going to give you the money. Hey. Why? Because it's not, first and foremost, my life is more valuable. And secondly, this shit don't even belong to me. What the fuck I'm worried about? The principal going to take care of that. Not me. Oh, man, he came in and robbed him. And you just gave him all the money. Fuck I'm supposed to do? Let the nigga shoot me and then take the money? He still gonna take the money. I'm giving it to him. I'm just saying, all right? It's an extreme case, but right, it suits the needs. We have been operating as debtors. When you use the Social Security number, you're operating as a debtor, period. Period. Right? When you use the when you use the passport number, or the people have found other ways. If you use an EIN that's not a debtor, then you're operating as the creditor, because you can only act as either a debt. The agents, the roles is either debtor or creditor, right? You have the asset role, the expense role, and the draw role or the charge role on the left hand side. Then you have the liable, the equitable, and the revenue role, on the right hand side. Yes, we've been out here adding to the national debt by using the Social Security numbers, not representing ourselves as living men and women. And how this is done is by using your last name first. When you use your last name first, you're showing that you are the matured account holder, that you are one of the family and not individually. When you put whatever name you say holds liability. If I say Davis L, that means everyone who's a Davis L shares in the responsibility. If I just say Brandon, I've taken all liability. All of it. It's all mine. Proof. Who needs proof? We need proof. So here's proof. Proof is always necessary, man. No, I see it in here. Ah, right. I see it in here. These really aren't the cards that I was looking to pin, but all right, we'll use it because I know for sure. All right, anywho. Right, this is my human rights consultant card, right? I'm a human rights consultant. You see that my first name is first on here? Right? But if you look at my passport, you see that my last name's first? You see that? This is professional ID. This is national. This is federal, national, limited liability business ID. This is your free of commercial liability identification. Person. This person is on the right side of the ledger. This person is on the left side of the ledger. And then this is the trash This is the trash based on principle, right? This is supposed to be a travel card. This is my travel card. There is no need for shit like this other than to teach yourself, right? Because it has great information on it, right? But let me show y'all one of the issues. You get this from RV bullshit. RV bullshit, right? So the biggest issue that I have with this is that there is an address on your travel card. There's no address on this travel card. If I give them an address, it doesn't matter if I put things in brackets. They can, or if I put in care of, it's readable. Right? Someone can still look this information up and find a location. To me, I feel like RV Bay is putting you out there on Front Street doing this. Appreciate it. Oh, absolutely. 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 Appreciate you. Right. But again, if you look at your passport, and remember, your passport is what? It's a travel document, right? Grand Risings, Yusuf. This here doesn't have any address on it. Now, mind you, right? When I filled out my DS11 and got this, I gave my address. I didn't give them a P.O. box or nothing because I'm not hiding. You know what I mean? I ain't got no reason to do all of that personally, right? To shift. But nonetheless, all of that information, if the right person runs my passport and they have secured clearance, they will be able to see my address. Whatever address that I put on that page, on that DS11 form, it's on here. But if you don't have the clearance to review it, if you don't have the proper credits to take account, you're not going to see it. But again, with this, they tell you right where you at. They tell you right where you at. Oh, no, it's in care of. If you writing it down, that's beautiful. That's great. But it's still going to register because when they put this in the system, right, they're not going to put C/O, right? They're not going to put the zip code in brackets. So they're going to take that in care of off. They're going to take the brackets off, and they are going to find the federal residence. Remember, I'm a federally recognized national agent of the state of Pennsylvania. They have the information. It's here. It's here. But it's not made public. And again, this is what I mean. RVB. But I'm not here to talk down to anybody or about anybody. I'm just here to uplift the profession. So let's keep that going. All right. All right. All right. Yep. We're now on to the B's. And again, I'm trying to run through certain ones, but to be honest with you, I love words. I'm a word nerd. So, we might be here for a minute going into these words. You know what I'm saying? All right, we have bad debt. Did y'all catch that? Bad debt. So there's bad debt? So then there's good debt? I know growing up, coming into this, before I had any real understanding of accounting, anytime I heard the word debt, I just immediately assumed it was negative. Immediately. Why? Because my education did not provide for me the doctrine. Right? And so, mind you, I didn't look at this book. I printed it out last night before I rested. And at sunrise, when I rose, I went down and grabbed it. So I don't know what definitions per se are all up in here. But if bad debt is in there, then good debt's going to have to be in. So we're going to look for that. But first, let's write down bad debt. What is bad debt? Bad debt is an account that cannot be collected. By collected, what does that mean? Redeem. So bad debt is what? Black person status. Bad debt is not redeemable. Black means non-redeemable. Okay? So if we have bad debt, let me save that page so we can come back. If we have bad debt, then we must have its opposite. Sucre bleu. So it doesn't have good debt in here. But I already know what word to look for, so I'll just go to that. I was hoping that it just had the word good debt in here. OPQR. Okay. No, it doesn't say. All right. Well, you know what? What is debt? Let's get to that. See, it doesn't have the word. That is funny. All right, so bad debt means that there is an account that cannot be collected. So that would mean that good debt is an account that can. Okay? This is called pure person status. One means blemished, soiled, dirty. It means that you're in the, you financially, liably, you're in the negative. And this means that you're in the positive. You're clean. You are free. Yes, absolutely. You were correct. Absolutely. So, A bad debt is black, Negro, colored. That means that the account is non-redeemable. If it's not redeemable, then it cannot revenue. You cannot revenue it. You cannot regenerate it somewhere else. You can't make it valuable anywhere else. And again, why? So bad debt is a debtor. Good debt is a beneficiary. All right. And then the passport is the beneficiary who has stood up and accepted the role as fiduciary. So now it's identified as administrating the estate rather than being identified as one with the estate. So your name, your straw man is not a bad guy. It's not the bad, it's not the culprit. The culprit is ignorance. The culprit is not realizing that when you use your first name first, you're identifying as a beneficiary, and not as one of administrative authority capacity. That's insane. The amount of ignorance we have been used to. Absolutely. I didn't desire to be ignorant, and I have autism. All right, so I had shit just pops out to me. I didn't want to be ignorant. I was, growing up, I was treated differently, and I understand why. You know what I mean? Because I didn't think like everybody else. I didn't catch what everybody else caught. That's what's helped me. The fact that psychologically, I can't allow something to just bypass me, especially with words. You can't just say something to me and me be like, just, all right, oh, that girl bad. What did she do? She do something wrong? No, she good. See, I got to figure out what the fuck you mean. Because in my mind, if you say she's bad, my first thought is she's negative. You see what I'm saying? My mind has that propensity to dig deeper. So I couldn't be ignorant. You know what I'm saying? It just it wasn't for me to just be a nigga out here. Oh yeah, good. Nah, fuck all that, man. I learned how to hustle, and then now that I understand accounting, I've taken my hustler's mentality off the street and onto the sidewalk, out of the trap, and into the buildings. You see what I'm saying? That's how I look at shit. You know what I'm saying? All right. Like, oh man, he got. I heard somebody try to get at me, right? So I've told people I'm on the spectrum, right? And immediately when I say I'm on the spectrum, you got nut-ass motherfuckers out here who think that I'm slow. They think I'm slow because I say, yeah, the light that reaches you in your mind, in your prism, pineal gland, it doesn't reach me the same way. Niggas don't even know what autism is, but they want to say a nigga dumb, you know what I'm saying? Stupid shit. Anywho, back to it, y'all. Don't feel no kind of way about being different. I love being different. You heard me? All right. Because I know some people who aren't diagnosed with a quote-unquote mental disorder who act like they done lost their fucking rabbit-ass mind anyway. All right. That's an in and out. All right. Bad debt. Balance sheet. Remember, we just went over the balance sheet. What is a balance sheet? A balance sheet is a statement of financial condition of a business at a certain date showing its assets, liabilities, and capital. That sounds like when you're going to court. I mean, to me, that sounds like a nigga going to court. The balance sheet. That sounds like the charges, all of that. That sounds like the defendant and all of that. That's what that sounds like to me. Which again is why I'm able to see what I can see in the courts now. right? A balance sheet account. Here goes this word account. Remember, an account is a transaction. A balance sheet account is an account, the amount of which, alone or in combination with others, appears on a balance sheet. All right. Bill of exchange. I like that one. An unconditional, listen real hard, right? A bill of exchange is an unconditional order in writing addressed by one person to another, signed by the person giving it, requiring the person to whom it is addressed to pay on demand or at a fixed or determinable future time a sum certain in money to order or to bearer. That sounds like something that I'm just going to write now. I owe you. Here, I'll pay you later. A bill of exchange is here. I have credibility. Here, I get it to you later. I'm going to issue this bill of exchange, and you can charge it. You can charge it to the U.S. Treasury because I have an authorized account. You know, thought patterns. Right? Beautiful mind. Thank you. By the way, I've never been diagnosed with anything. I just know what I see. So I know that I have autism. How are you feeling this morning? I'm on live, brother. All right. Salam, Islam. Peace to the brother. Financial. All right, so bond. What is a bond? Right? Me and my homies, man, you know, we got a bond between us. All right. So what is a bond, right? A bond is an interest-bearing promise of a corporation, generally secured, to pay a fixed amount to holders at a designated future time. Commonality. So a bond is an interest-bearing promise. There's some type of interest, some type of value that I'm presenting as a promise from one body to another body, whether it is a corporation, which is a body nation, corpse nation, you know, corporal nation, right, etc. So we out here giving out bonds. My bond is my word. So my word is a bond. So again, what is a bond? A bond is an interest-bearing promise of a corporation, generally is secured. My word is my bond is my word, and I shall give my life before my word ever fail. I'm secure in my bond with you. I'm saying that before my word fail, I'd rather give my life before my word fails. That's how much interest I have invested in my promise to be on whatever it is that I say that I'm on. God's word, absolutely. All right. Mm. Yeah. Is that word? Yeah. Capital. The word capital. Capital. What is that? I see it. Capital punishment. You know, the capital letter. You know, capital hill, even though it's spelled different. What is this about a capital? The nation's capital. What is capital? Capital is the difference between a business owner's total assets and total liabilities, equity or investment. So capital, capital is the assets. How many, again, just mind blowing shit real quick. Words speak to me. I know it's supposed to, but I mean, I don't know how else to say it, right? So we have debits equal credits, and assets equals liability plus equity. Both of them. All right, so let's read this again. Right? Capital. What is capital? Capital is the difference between a business owner's total assets and total liability. It says equity or investment. So this is your capital. Everything that you got, that's your capital. Your worth, your value, that's your capital. So this is capital. Hold on. Scared. Here's the finance for it. This is your capital, your assets. Generally secured. Right? Right. All right. All right. I had to see what that word capital was hitting for. What does it mean to capitalize? Appreciate that. To follow. Absolutely. To capitalize means to record. So that's an account. To record and carry forward into one or more future periods any expenditure, the benefits or proceeds from which will then be realized. So that's your investment. To capitalize is another way to say to nationalize. Now that I'm thinking about it, right? That's what nation's capital, national capital, right? So, hold on. I'm gonna show y'all how I connect capitalize, right, with nationalize, right? Let me show y'all. So first, Not expenditure, expenditure. Expenditure. All right. Gotta get my words right. See, that's why it's important to just read. Benefits or proceeds. Okay, that's capitalized. For law definitions, I'm just letting you all know my source of law definitions at this particular moment uh, is Black's Law Dictionary. Okay, so just to qualify where I'm taking my information from. Alhamdulillah. First edition. I also have the fourth edition here. So now we're going to look up and just to show you all, right? The reason why I caught it is because I've already studied nationality, right? And so I saw some correlations that we're going to go through, right, real quick. All right. So to capitalize is to record and carry forward into one or more future periods any expenditure, the benefits or proceeds from which will then be realized. Nationalization, the nationalization of property, benefits, proceeds, is an act which denotes that it has become that of the nation, so it's been carried forward by some process of law whereby private individuals or corporations have been for specified reasons deprived thereof, right? Both of these speak of investing assets forward for a future time, right? Girali taught nationalization. Nationalization means give the property to the government, to the national government, and allow it to administrate with you, for you until you're old enough and mature enough to stand up and make the claim, at which time it will then administrate with you, right? That's what nationalization is. Capital, the nation, the national capital is what? What is the nation's capital? What your time, your energy, your liberty, your commerce, these are your assets that's using for capital to capitalize and to nationalize, right? I hope you see it, I see it, because we are considered incompetent. I don't know when you stated that, but yes, most likely. It's because we're that. And again, love to my subscribers, yo. Let me see, can I show love to my subs? I don't like calling y'all subs. It's a bit much to that. Let me figure out how to show y'all some love, yo, on everything, yo. I'm still learning this app, yo. All right. Look. So, all right, cool. Because I'm like, what the fuck is an expenditure, right? Capitalized. Wait a minute. What is it? Capital? Shit, look. See? All right. We're going to start with capital asset. A capital asset. Remember, we're dealing with assets, right? A secured asset is a credit. An unsecured asset is a debit. Just remember that, right? So a capital asset is an asset intended for continued use or possession. Common subclassifications being land, building and equipment, leaseholds, mineral deposits, timber preserves. These are fixed assets. B, goodwill. Goodwill is an asset. Peace on earth and goodwill to all men. All right, it says goodwill, patents, trademarks, franchises. These are intangibles. And C, investments in affiliated companies. All right, those are capital assets. What is a capital expenditure? You know what? Yeah, let me see if it's going to tell us what an expenditure is, period, before we start putting pronouns in front of it. All right, so, because I need to know what an expenditure is, and I would hope that you would need to know too, right? Let me see here. All right, yeah, we're going up. An expenditure is the incurring of a liability, a deduction from gross income allowed an individual in the nature of a specific. I didn't jump. Hold the fuck on. An expenditure is the incurring of a liability, the payment of cash, or the transfer of property for the purpose of acquiring an asset or service or settling a loss. So an expenditure sounds like fucking discharge. That's what it sounds like to me. Look, an expense is an expenditure, all right, for operating costs, right? I keep blowing my shit like, yo, this deals with accounting and bookkeeping. Like, duh. All right, I keep forgetting. I'm just like, wait, this is bookkeeping shit. And it's like, wait, yeah. That's the whole point there. All right, so we find that an expense on the balance sheet is an expenditure for operating cost of a present or past period. Again, just things for me to look, equity capital. Look. Look at this. Come here. Go look at this. Right. Equity. What is equity? Equity is any right or claim to assets. Equity is any right or claim to assets. It's a secured it's a liability, but it's secured. Equity is a claim, y'all. You want your rights to be honored? Go to equity. Equity is literally a right. The word right means jurisdiction. It means authority, authorization. It means provision, protection. It doesn't mean privilege. It means permission. I have the permission to do this. Permission. I don't need no permission. All right. Well, if you want to hold legal title and be fully liable, that's on you. The liability of equity is limited. It's limited only to the legal owner, the legal title holder. And I'm not holding legal title anymore, right? This is legal title. This is a liability, right? This is legal title. I'm no longer registered as the legal title holder. I am now registered as the equitable title holder. I made the claim. You should too. Well, how do we make the claim? What claim forms? You have the right to a nationality and to change your nationality through the U.S. Department of State DS-11 claim application. This is the claim application. This is the form. Your affidavit that goes in with this is your claim. You make your claim alongside your application. And then when you're recognized as the title holder, oh yeah, he had legal title and he pledged that legal title collateral liability, right, to the national government. To the national government, not to my state government, to the national government. And it secured me through my state. Nationally, I'm an American. Citizenship-wise, I'm a Pennsylvanian. I understand now why my nationality is Moorish American. I'm Muslim Pennsylvanian. So I'm going to now encourage you all. And you know what? It's still to each their own, right? So I mark no to U.S. citizen for my mother and father because my mother and father are people. And I know that the U.S. citizens are persons. I mark no. I'm realizing now I could have marked yes, but what saved me was that in my affidavit, I made a national allegiance declaration that I am a free national citizen of this free national republic of the United States of America. So I've already made claim that I am a federally recognized national of the state of the government and citizen of one of the Union states, Pennsylvania. My nationality is USA. Federally, I'm an American. And then state-wise, I'm a Pennsylvanian. Is her nation, state. State national. I'm not a state national, I'm a national statesman. Just for y'all. Because we're dealing with words. You can be a state national if you can qualify it. I like to say national statesman because I'm putting the American government before the state. So again, something to think about. We out here. All right, we were looking at equity, but we need to go back. Embezzlement. These are words that are definitely, look, man. Trying to tell you, boy. All right, here goes one. Certificate of incorporation. A document issued by a state establishing a corporation. Now, mind you, this is a sole proprietorship. So this is not the corporation. This is the individual company. The corporation, boom, that's the corporation. So this is a certificate of incorporation. If my nationality is American, yet my place of birth is Paraguay, what is your citizenship? You are an American, you are still an American, and your statehood, your citizenship is, I don't know if this is right, but Paraguayan, right? You're a Paraguayan. Eres de Paraguay, right? You're from Paraguay. So that's your citizenship. That's where your estate originates from within the American federal government. So when you get your passport, you will be identified nationally as an American, and your birthright citizenship will show that you are from Paraguay. You are a Paraguayan. Paraguayana. Right. Certificate of incorporation. I have incorporated. I know this is a tax exempt certificate, so why wouldn't it also be a certificate of incorporation? I'm incorporated. Inc., baby. David Shell. You heard me? All right. Here goes one. Yeah. Charge offs, but we ain't gonna get to that yet. Let's see. So what I'm going to attempt to do when I go to court on the 7th, I intend to put some of this language in my speech. So to bring forward, right? Drew Ali teaches me in his literature that forward should ever be the word that we march on, right? Oh, come on. It was right here the whole time. It's cool. It's cool. All right. This was yesterday, but anyway. All right, so to bring forward means to inscribe the balance or the total debits and credits of an account, worksheet, or any tabular statement upon a new page or sheet or upon a cleared section of an old sheet. So I'm going to bring forward the truth. We're going to go to the next page. Fuck all this shit y'all read and talk about me as defendant. We're going to bring forward the truth, a whole new sheet where I'm now recognized as the fiduciary agent. Fuck the bullshit. All right. Again, just things to consider because I recognize that in court, you're at a bank. And at banks, they deal with what? Accounts. So I have to understand accounting, understand that everybody in there is an accountant to some degree. Right? Everyone in there knows how to take up an account for themselves and for others except for me. Can't be the last man out. Check it out. Check it out. What is a corporation? Don't be scared of it now. What is a corporation? A corporation is an entity created to do business in a state through its charter. This is a business right here. This is an entity created to do business in the state, Pennsylvania, through its charter. Yes, this is. Credit. What is credit? The rich use credit. The rich do not use debt. They do not use their own. They do not operate solely liable in their business transactions. They use credit. What is credit? Credit is the ability, so credibility. It is the ability to buy or borrow in consideration of a promise to pay within a period sometimes loosely specified following delivery. Credit is the ability to borrow or buy in consideration of a promise to pay within a period. Now, I know for a fact now, credit is a loan. Let me jump into this real quick, right? Because with that definition, something else has popped up into my head that won't go away. This is from the Moorish literature, article number 6, entitled, Think This Over, You Moors, right? Drew Ali is explaining to the trustees, the fiduciaries, the vestrymen of the organization, that deal in finance with the finance how to utilize the finance, right? And just that part right there, it dropped out because it says no head of any temple is to borrow from any other member more than $5 to $10 unless by notification of the prophet the necessity for the loan. That sounds like credit, because credit is what? The ability to buy or borrow in consideration of a promise to pay. All right? So again, Drew Ali was teaching the people credit, how to utilize credit. And this is also where Noble Drew Ali instructed the American citizens to prepare for the Emergency Banking Relief Act. Federal court has ruled that national banks cannot lend its credit, jeopardizing customers' accounts. All right, Top Gun, appreciate that information. All right. I like this. Who is a creditor? What is a creditor? A creditor is one who is owed a debt of money or services. As an equitable owner, aren't you a creditor? Aren't you owed the net profit after everything goes out? Did you not properly discharge your office? Did you not fulfill your obligation? Did you not honor your duty? So you're the creditor. Creditor's equity. I like that. What is creditor's equity? Creditor's equity. What is my feet? My legs. Oh. Shit, look. Yeah, that's what that shit is, too. All right. Take care of that in a minute. Creditor's equity is the collective amount of liabilities or amounts owing to outsiders other than stockholders. The equity of a creditor is the collective amount of liabilities or amounts owing to outsiders that are other than stockholders. Like that. What's a creditor's ledger? A creditor's ledger is a ledger containing accounts with creditors listed. Are you listed as the creditor when you go to court? Are you listed as a creditor when you go to the bank? Do you know how to operate in that capacity? This is what we're learning, you know. Look, they even got customers ledger. So now we need to know, what is a ledger? EFGHIJKL. Look, I keep seeing the word ledger. Damn, it ain't got it in. All right. What is a liability? A liability is, you know what? Let's do it this way. You know what? Yeah, AC. All right. Asset. This is what we're going to do, y'all. Right? I'm about to give a list of glossary words, I guess, words that need to be defined. Right? This is definitely a list of words, right? That every man or woman handling their accounts or handling their affairs in life should be aware of, knowledgeable of, and comprehending. We should know what each one of these words means, so that when we hear them, we know we know what's being implicated, what's being implied, applied, etc. Right? Again, I'm just seeing it, you know. So what I'm going to do, and what I recommend you all to do, you know, if this is something that's worth your time, right? I would tell you to either screenshot this, write it down, whatever the case. Whatever the case may be. But I would encourage you all to familiarize yourself with these terms, their definitions, and their applications. Absolutely. These are going to be your spells. All right, so you just keep spazzing on my page, like you want to be the teacher. So, unless you're a subscriber right now, you can't post to the page. Top Gun, if you want to post on my page the information, if you want to assist, subscribe. You're not going to have the people who are listening to my dissertation, reading your comments, and mixing. All right, I'm not talking about nothing you're talking about specifically in these comments, and you just keep trying to put your shit in there. Teach that shit on your own page, brother. Bullshit. Or subscribe, and at least that way I know that, you know, you'll be contributing to the lessons. At which time the subscribers right now, the subscribers are the only ones who can actively comment now, because you want to keep posting your assertions like you're the one teaching or something. Let me take this opportunity to speak to you all, right? On some real shit, right? I don't know if this is how y'all did it in school, right? Where you're in class and the teacher's teaching and you're just blurting shit out. I don't know if that's what you were doing in class. That's called the class clown. That's called a class distraction, right? And usually, right, you'll be sent to the principal's office. Now you have to go see the principal for doing dumbass shit like that, bro. If that's how y'all gonna be, then all right, whatever. I will keep my live posts to subscribers only. I don't need for you to be putting all of that in here. I try to leave the comments open so I can interact with those who aren't subscribers. But again, when you got people who are trying to teach while I'm teaching this shit, understanding that my back is to you and I'm talking about this and I can't see what's on my page and you're teaching something other than what I'm teaching. No, I'm not for that shit. Not in my class. That will not happen in my class. All right. So again, if you wish to actively, there you go. If you wish to actively participate in this class, you have to subscribe. All right. Back to it. Let's see here. Okay, I was looking for a word that wasn't there, so we are on D. Letter D. Right, all right. Debit. Daybook, debit service. Right, but I thought I saw the word debt. I thought I did. I did not. Huh? Okay. All right. What is a debit? A debit, the goods or benefit received from a transaction. All right. Did y'all hear that? So, mind you, everything in the debit side is public. Okay? Public. So, a debit is the goods or benefit received. It's accounts receivable. A bookkeeping entry or posting, here's your post. Jesus was definitely nailed to a post, by the way. And he was the word, so he was the bond that was posted. Anywho, right? A debit is a bookkeeping entry or posting recording of it. A bookkeeping entry or posting recording the creation of or addition to an asset or an expense or the reduction or elimination of a liability. Credit valuation account or item of net worth or revenue. So a debit is not a bad thing. Liability is not a bad thing. Rich people use debt. They just don't use their own. Rich people utilize debit. Rich people leverage their debt as credit. Okay? Just keep that in mind, because that's what I'm recognizing. That's what I'm learning how to do. And I believe that's what we need to do. Absolutely. I blocked him and he left the room. We're going to open back up. All right, y'all. The comments are back open. Old boy done slid out, most likely. All right. Yeah, we did good. All right. Disclosure. I like that word too. Disclosure. What is disclosure? An explanation. First and foremost, disclosure is an explanation. Officer pulls up on you and says, put your hands up. I need disclosure. Well, for whatever, do you suspect me? I said, no, my nigga, that's not a lawful order. You haven't given me full disclosure. All right? What is disclosure? An explanation or exhibit, so it's something done. Attached or something written. Attached to a financial statement. Or embodied in a report, such as an auditor's report. That's what you're doing. You are being audited. Well, your estate is being audited, and you must act as an auditor and not as the estate that is being audited, right? An explanation or exhibit attached to a financial statement or embodied in a report containing a fact, opinion, or detail required or helpful in the interpretation of the statement or report. A disclosure is an expanded heading or a footnote. Title. Fuck is going on with you? I need disclosure. Like old boy posting on my page, there was no disclosure, so I had to give disclosure. Now that all of you who are listening have heard the disclosure, you've been warned. You know what I mean? All right? And in court, you need to, in order for a claim to be right and exact, there has to be disclosure. Give me an explanation, right? You're basically saying, show me the contract. I just need this. I need you to disclose, to make known. To disclose means to make something known. To close means to, right? So to disclose means to open something up. All right? So I need to know where the contract, show me the contract, show me the agreement, because the agreement makes the obligation. If there is no agreement, there is no liability, at least not on me. So when you're going to court, you're not arguing. You shouldn't be arguing about the cost. You shouldn't be arguing about what was done. You shouldn't be arguing at all. You should say, you know what? Just show me that for the record. Show me that for the record so that could be written off. If you can't show me that, I can't charge that off. I can't consider that a loss if you can't show me that I owe. My debits and my credits will not match if I don't have full disclosure. That's why most of us are getting rear-ended in court and in banking and just in financially, in all types of financial institutions in general. You know, we lack full disclosure. Most of us don't know how to require full disclosure. You know? Get out the way in case some of y'all are still writing those down. Here goes a good word. Distort. Tort. Distort. To distort means to create a false impression or to give a limited perspective. Most of us are dealing with distortions of an account whenever we're dealing with accounting. And remember, anytime you're walking into a bank, a court, a store, anywhere where they've got finance to deposit money and shit into, even your home, you're dealing with a record of account. You're dealing with accounting. Is entity here? Yes. Entity. As a matter of fact, Entity. An entity is a division of the activities of a natural person. A division. So it's a part of. It's an aspect of. A division of the activities of a natural person. Partnership, corporation, or other organization. Separate and complete, free and equal in form, usually distinguished from a larger identity, such as a head office, controlling corporation, or other more inclusive economic unit. So an entity is also considered an establishment. Your entity is an establishment. The mind of something established. Establishment. The man or the mind established. So the minority account person is an entity. The majority account person is an entity, right? Your favorite shoe provider. The name of it, that's an entity. It does business in a name. It's an entity. The name you give your dog when you register them on the paperwork, that is the dog's entity. An establishment, y'all. Established. Our Constitution talks about being ordained and established. So there's an ordainment and an establishment. There's an entity. All right. The U.S. Constitution